In this tutorial, we will try to understand what wsdl is. wsdl stands for Web Service Description Language. What wsdl specifies is actually all the information about web service. It's an XML based document, so it is independent of any programming language. When you look at a wsdl, you should be able to figure out everything that it needs to invoke a web service and to process the result that the web service will return back to you. So let's first see a wsdl. So here what I have done is I have hosted a web service in the Java, but it doesn't matter. The web service can be hosted on any platform, on any programming language, and when it exposes its web services through a wsdl, it can be consumed by anyone, again irrespective of the platform and the programming language. So I hit for the wsdl. So the document that comes in front of you, this is what a wsdl is. Please understand that wsdl are normally not for human consumption. This is for your application to parse and make sense of it. So let's understand what the different parts of the wsdl are. What we'll do, we'll go from the backwards because that will be easier to understand. So the first thing we want to know is where the web service is located. So this is the location that tells that where this web service is located. And then you have to look into this binding, the temperature converter port binding. Go back where it is defined. So it is defined here, temperature converter port binding. This binding basically binds your web service in terms of saying that this web service is moving with SOAP protocol over HTTP. This area confuses most of the web service users, but please understand that wsdl is independent of SOAP, and this is the place where the wsdl and SOAP are tied to each other. Now at this binding, what are the services available? So for that you look into this type, temperature converter, and then you go back where the port is defined with this name. So you have got this temperature converter here. So here the port type name, temperature converter. Now here what are the operations that are available? So there is one operation Celsius to Fahrenheit, then other operation Fahrenheit to Celsius. So this is like in terms of Java analogy and interface and the services that are available in that interface. Now what you send to this web service and what you will get back from this service. The input message defines what you will be sending as request, and the output message defines what you will be sending as part of the what you will be getting as part of the response. Now again, how this is defined, again you go back where your messages are defined. So Celsius to Fahrenheit op, Celsius to Fahrenheit op is here. What it says that it contains a part parameters which have a structure Celsius to Fahrenheit op. Again, understand that this message is very generic. It doesn't define whether it's a request or a response. Whether it will be request or a response is defined in the context of the operation. So now let's come back how this Celsius to Fahrenheit op is defined. So in this case it is defined under the types, but here if you notice that it is again importing another document here. So let's just bring that document up. And here you see this is a normal XST definition. Fahrenheit to Celsius op contains a sequence of elements and which is got a double. So that way you see that how the request and the response structures are defined. So really what will happen is that this will become your SOAP request, and in the SOAP response again when you go back you will see that you will get Celsius to Fahrenheit op response message structure as the SOAP response. Again you go backwards and figure out how that structure would look like. But please again understand that this is what your framework will be looking into, this wsdl, and then it will consume this wsdl and will generate the artifacts. So most of the time your job as an application developer is to call those stubs that are generated by your framework. So hopefully this was useful.